Hey guys, my name is Colin. I am the owner of the Teacher and 3 YouTube channel, and I am a VATSIM air traffic controller. For those of you unaware, VATSIM is a realistic network that connects your flight simulators to real people trained by the network to staff air traffic control positions. It is, in my opinion, the most realistic aviation radio communication experience except flying in real life. But chances are you already knew that, especially if this isn't your first video on the channel, because my channel is packed full of VATSIM content. And today, I'm adding onto that pile with a video that I hope will positively benefit the VATSIM community. That being, 5 tips for new pilots from a VATSIM air traffic controller. This video is actually posted a lot later than it's supposed to be, as is the case with most of my videos. It was supposed to be posted about 6 months ago, but I had some hold up in the process of filming it, and so I kind of took it off the shelves, if you will. All that being said, about 6 months ago, I interviewed a bunch of people from my RTech to kind of get them to help me on this video, so I'm going to give those people a shout out even though they probably don't remember those interviews. Thank you so much to Max, Henry, Andrew, and Noah. You guys were a big help in making this video about 6 months ago and writing the script for it. Now I'm finally filming it like I said I would. Once again, I really appreciate you guys and thank you so much for lending your time to help me out. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the video. Starting with tip number 1. Do your research. Ironically, by watching this video, you are, to some extent, doing your research. But simply watching this video isn't enough. Before you step into VATSIM, you should make sure that you've adequately studied the plane you'll fly, how to communicate on frequency, and the airspace you will fly in. You can study the plane you'll fly on VATSIM by flying the aircraft outside of VATSIM. The rule of thumb for whether you are proficient in an aircraft is whether you could teach someone else to fly it. If you can, great. If not, you have some work to do. I'd like to note that usually it takes longer to become proficient in bigger aircraft, so for new pilots, it's usually a better idea to fly small, single-engine propellers. I personally recommend the Cessna 152, the JMB VL3, or, if you're looking for a tail dragger, the Piper Cub is always there for you. I want to point out that after you become experienced in VATSIM, you shouldn't abandon learning an aircraft before you fly it on the network. Any person, no matter the experience level, should learn the aircraft before attempting to log in with it on VATSIM. You can learn to communicate on frequency by monitoring frequencies through the use of observer mode, and taking note on how pilots are communicating with air traffic control. But a more unique solution is to fly using AI air traffic control programs such as the Say Intentions AI. Despite it having some issues, this will give you a more hands-on experience without disrupting the flow of the network. Doing both of these things will certainly make you a more active listener, which is a quality necessary to fly on VATSIM. And last but not least, you should research your airspace. That is, knowing how to read your charts, which I'll get more into later, and ensuring you're contacting online controllers and thinking proactively when it comes to frequency changes, which you can see through the use of VATSIM radar and VATSPY, which I will also talk more about later. Doing these things will ensure that you will have a realistic and overall less stressful experience on the VATSIM network. Speaking of how to make your flights less stressful, let's move on to tip number 2. Fly in less crowded airspace. Now I get it. Flying in a fully staffed airspaces with tons of other planes seems like a cool experience. However, it usually causes more trouble than it's worth on your first couple of flights. The logic for my side of this argument is simple. Inevitably, in your first flights on VATSIM, you will have a question or something will go wrong. And from a controller standpoint, we are much more willing to help with said issue when the airspace is not busy. But when the airspace is busy, a controller will be less friendly and less likely to help you. And I want to note that this is by no means justifying controllers that freak out on new pilots and are rude on frequency. But the fact of the matter is that controllers will be less receptive to help new pilots when the frequency gets busy, as answering questions and helping someone takes up valuable frequency time that could be used on other aircraft. We talked briefly about VATSIM radar and VATSPY in my last tip, but these are the main tools that can help you spot whether an airspace is suitable for you to fly in as a new pilot. A good tool to use is the featured airport tabs on VATSIM radar. On this tab, click Quiet Airports, and you will be given several choices for an airport to fly out of that isn't super busy. Flying out of these airports will allow you to have a less stressful experience on the network and give controllers a chance to help you if something goes wrong. By flying less busy airspace, you will be doing yourself and the controller a favor. And speaking of doing yourself a favor, let's talk about tip number 3. Fly under visual flight rules. Once again, I understand why flying big aircraft at flight levels and on a major carrier can seem appealing. However, VFR flight is one of the most underappreciated tools on VATSIM for new and experienced pilots. VFR allows you as a pilot much more freedom as you're not following a set flight plan. Not to mention, VFR is 1,000 times more simple than IFR flight, which is the reason that real-life pilots learn VFR first. Also underappreciated in the category of VFR is the traffic pattern, which will give you more experience in communication and allow you to log some landings and takeoffs on the network. I will say, there is a limitation to VFR flight, that being that it must be VFR conditions to file as VFR, so no flying into IMC. But truly, this isn't a major problem, as IMC usually disorients new pilots, so really you should just keep it simple and fly in visual conditions anyway. But no matter if you're flying IFR or VFR, one thing is necessary, that being our next tip. Tip 4. Use charts. This tip seems incredibly obvious, but for some reason maybe it isn't. It is so common for people on the network to not be using charts, which is incredibly surprising because unless you know an airspace like the back of your hand, charts are necessary for VFR and IFR flight. I'm not going to get into how you read charts because that would be a whole separate video itself, but I will give you some helpful chart websites and companies that you can use. Do keep in mind that just like all of the companies inside of this video, I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. I simply use them and enjoy using them, and I'm recommending them to other people. Let's start with the free options. For IFR flight, I recommend ChartFox. All you need to do is look up an ICAO code for the airport, and you'll be given access to all the IFR charts for such, including taxiway diagrams, SIDs, stars, approach plates, and more. It's required that you have a VATSIM account to access ChartFox, but it's 100% worth it, and just like VATSIM, is 100% free. For free VFR charts, I recommend SkyVector. If you're flying in the US, SkyVector literally gives you the VFR sectional for the whole country. And I'll add that SkyVector does also have IFR charts, though I prefer the ones that ChartFox makes. And if you're looking to shell out a little cash for some charts, there is no better program than Navigraph. This is a company that is well known in the flight sim community, and for a good reason. With in-flight tracking, its own program to show you online air traffic controllers, and a flight planning website through SimBrief, Navigraph is worth every cent. Remember, charts are here for your benefit, and not using them is failing to take advantage of useful tools. Speaking of which, let's get into our final tip. Tip 5. Find help. Remember, we are all here to have fun. So if you need help, I am certain somebody will be willing to do so. If you ever have any questions, reach out to people. Whether it be controllers that aren't busy, other pilots, or people on the VATSIM Discord, someone is willing to help you. And if you can't find help, reach out to me. Find me in the comment section or on my Discord. Reach out and chances are I will find a way to help you, or I'll find somebody else that can help you. VATSIM seems daunting at first, but if you follow these tips and ask for help when needed, 9 times out of 10, you'll be okay. And that about wraps up this list. Do you agree with me? Do you think there's something I missed? Well, let me know, and I might just make a part 2. I know you may not see it, but this video took a lot of work. I had to individually film and edit each of these clips together, and I did that all by myself. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and do whatever you can to help with the channel. I'm a small content creator looking to grow a following of other people that are interested in aviation just as much as I am. If that sounds like you, hop on board and we'll see where it takes us. As always, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one.